threatening the president and Trump's first 4 months. It's 5 in 10 from SkyWatchTV. 5 things you need to know for this Friday, May 16th, 2025. I'm Derek Gilbert. Our Friday 5, the 5 big stories of the week as we head into the weekend. And item number 5 this week, jumping into the 5 last night, former FBI Director James Comey, who posted this picture that he claims on X to have taken while he was out walking on the beach. This odd arrangement of shells on the beach. If you're not recognizing it, that says 8647. Now, what does that mean? If you're old enough, in fact, you don't even need to be that old to know that 86 means to unalive something. I have to be careful with words because algorithms will catch words like the other one and flag that video for violation of community standards. Anyway, 47. What does that mean? Well, President Trump is president number 47. So 8647 could be construed as a threat against President Trump. And in fact, that is how the Department of National Intelligence, the Director of Homeland Security, the FBI have taken this, and former FBI Director James Comey is now being investigated by the U.S. Secret Service, the FBI, and the Department of Homeland Security. After the understandable pushback on social media, Comey then posted, I didn't realize that this was a call to physical violence. I thought it was just a political statement. He deleted the post. But this is actually a meme that's been growing across the internet for about the last 6 weeks, where you get left-wing protesters out there carrying signs that say 8647. It's their clever code that they figure no one will understand. Well, former ESPN and MSNBC host Keith Olbermann, who is now completely unhinged, and that's being kind, has retweeted this and or shared it. It's no longer Twitter, it's X, and is then insulting anyone who claims that this is actually an incitement to violence by saying, no, this derives from cafes and years back, means to stop an order. Like, don't be disingenuous, Keith. We all know what it means, and I hope you get a call from the Secret Service very soon. Topic number 4, Trump in the Middle East. President Trump returning home after a swing through the Middle East, the Gulf states, returning with commitments from the Gulf Arab states for about $2.5 trillion. That's trillion with a tr in investment in U.S. business and industry. Now, will they keep to those commitments? Time will tell. We shall see. But it wasn't the red carpet. It was actually the lavender carpet was rolled out for President Trump in Saudi Arabia. And that's because of a native flower there in the kingdom that is that lavender color, which is why President Trump, when he got off Air Force One, was not wearing his customary red tie. He was wearing a lavender tie. The president knows how to play this game. During these meetings, he also met with Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa. Again, he's president in name only. Syria is still fractured into a number of semi-autonomous zones. But because the United States had the previous dictator, Bashar al-Assad, under sanctions, President Trump has agreed to lift sanctions on the people of Syria as a way of offering an incentive to al-Sharaa to become a good global citizen. He also asked al-Sharaa to sign on to the Abraham Accords with Israel and get rid of the foreign terrorists in Syria. Now, bearing in mind that al-Sharaa is himself a former terrorist, Al-Qaeda in suits, we will see how well this plays out. But as I said the other day, there is no denying that with what President Trump has accomplished in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in UAE, he is reshaping the Middle East in a way that has not been seen in more than 75 years, and I'm talking about 1948 in Israel becoming an independent state in the fulfillment of Bible prophecy. Topic number 3, Ukraine, the other big story this week involving geopolitics. The meetings in Istanbul between delegations from Ukraine and Russia being mediated by the government of Turkey. The United States has a delegation there as well, including Secretary of State Rubio. Vladimir Putin and his foreign minister Sergei Lavrov not attending, but Again, Russia is making it very clear that it can accomplish all of its geopolitical aims in Ukraine without having to agree to a ceasefire. Ukraine, as President Trump told Volodymyr Zelensky in front of the press in the Oval Office, you don't have any cards. And this is true. Ukraine is losing this war. And as much as Zelensky would, to be blunt, try to hide behind the skirts of Sir Keir Starmer, Emmanuel Macron, Friedrich Merz of Germany, Donald Tusk of Poland, it's unless those, even if those countries decide to send troops to fight on the ground in Ukraine, Russia has the manpower and the industrial capacity to keep this up for a lot longer than our media has been telling us. It's been ongoing for 3 years, and for 3 years we keep hearing with just a little bit more aid, Ukraine can win this war. No, that's not the reality. Let's pray that there is peace. I'm not carrying water for Vladimir Putin here. I'm just saying, looking at this realistically, Russia can get what it wants without coming to the peace table. Topic number 2, China. The other big deal this week, deal in the terms of financial economic arrangements, President Trump managed to drag China back to the negotiating table through his tariffs, which the corporate media here in the U.S. and the West has been saying, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Consumers here will pay higher prices. Maybe. I mean, we've gotten kind of addicted to buying cheap Chinese clothing, shoes, electronics, and so on, but at the cost of jobs for our neighbors. Walmart has announced it's going to be raising prices because of the tariffs, even though China and the United States have agreed to lower the tariffs that had gotten as high as 150% on incoming Chinese goods down to 10% for the next 90 days, while negotiators hammer out the details of an economic deal, a trade deal. You might remember there was a trade deal back in 2020 that President Trump had agreed to with China, a good trade deal that would have been fair for both nations. But when President Trump was not allowed to return to the White House in 2021, China just decided to ignore the deal. And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said during an interview earlier this week that he was told by Chinese negotiators, well, yeah, we know we had a deal there, but we knew we could ignore Joe Biden because he wasn't going to stand up to us. Now, how did they know that? Hunter Biden's laptop, 10% for the big guy. Could be. Anyway, we will see how this all plays out. Again, it may result in some higher prices in the short term for us, but long term, bringing American industry back to America, especially when it comes to critical things like the production of steel, aluminum, pharmaceuticals, long term, better for the American economy as a whole. Coming up, Trump's first 4 months. That's ahead on the Friday Five.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can support the ministry of SkyWatchTV and our continued efforts to share the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the 4 corners of the world and receive your very own copy of this urgent new work when you order the Curtis Liebel 4 Horsemen special offer. Not only does this incredible opportunity include Curtis Liebel's new book, The 4 Horsemen, The Winds of Theopolitical Change, which unravels the mystery of the ancient spirit of Babylon and the intoxication of the nations, but it also includes the best-selling book, The Great Inception by Derek P. Gilbert. This incredible masterpiece reveals the hidden cosmic war between God and rebel gods, uncovers the truth about the Tower of Babel, the Red Sea crossing, and the Nephilim. Derek Gilbert takes you on an epic journey through history, the titans of Greek mythology, and biblical mystery that showcases the eye-opening battle for the throne of God. But that's not all. This special offer also includes the best-selling book, New World Order, Worlds in Collision and the Rebirth of Liberty by the legendary Terry James and Pete Garcia. This incredible work reveals the collapse of Western civilization, rampant corruption, crime, and chaos driven by a globalist agenda. This book warns of God's impending great reset to bring an end to the current ungodly age and usher in a magnificent transformation. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of over $60. Yours now for your donation of only $45, which includes free shipping to all U.S. orders. So don't delay. You can scan the QR code on your screen using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this special opportunity, or you can visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the Curtis Liebel 4 Horsemen special offer now.
Item number 1 today, the Friday Five. News this week, inflation down to 2.3% year over year. This is the lowest it's been in quite some time, certainly much lower than it was during President Biden's term. Illegal border crossings this week, according to the Customs and Border Protection, have hit a record low since they started keeping track of these encounters at the border back in 2000, a 25-year low within Trump's first 3 months, actually, because this is data from the month of March. Trump rearranging the Middle East. The chessboard there is looking a lot different than it did just a few months ago. And even former members of Biden's administration are admitting in interviews that they are in shock at what President Trump has managed to accomplish in the first 100 days, or 120 days, as we're recording this today. And again, dragging China back to the negotiating table to restructure trade agreements between those two. President Trump may not go down in history as one of the best presidents ever, but even the former Biden administration officials are saying he's doing things we didn't think were possible. Not just we didn't think he could do it. It's like we didn't think these things were even possible. Did we vote for this? Even the media finally noticing when it comes to our previous president what most of us noticed over the last 5 years, which is that Joe Biden had no business being anywhere near the Oval Office. And again, I'm not saying this from a partisan perspective. I'm saying this as one who's got a close family member dealing with dementia. Speaking of my mother, recognize the signs. It is not pleasant to watch. President Biden's family should never have allowed him to run for president in 2020. The Democrats, ironically, by pushing him out there and giving Donald Trump 4 more years to prepare, have brought upon themselves the greatest rearrangement in American politics in a generation, if not the last 100 years. This is, again, I'm not trying to kiss up. I am not a Trumpite. But just looking realistically at what he has managed to accomplish over his first 4 months, it's quite remarkable. As a Christian, just looking at this and saying, thankfully, the one thing I'm most thankful for is we finally have an administration, again, that is giving us the breathing space to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ openly in the public square. And that, as Christians, is really the best we can hope for from any federal government. This week on SkyWatch TV, we're talking about Theopolitics. Curtis Liebel, the author of The 4 Horsemen, Agents of Theopolitical Change. What does he mean by that? Well, we're talking about what we see on the geopolitical chessboard is really the shadows of what's happening in the unseen realm. Fascinating conversation, and Curtis has put a lot of research into this. Please watch these programs. You can see it now at skywatchtv.com, or you can watch it at one of our over-the-air broadcasts. Our broadcast schedule posted at skywatchtv.com/channels to find a network and a time in your area. Now, you can add us to your smart TV or set-top box so that we broadcast on your schedule. We've got channels available for, or apps if you prefer, for Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Google TV, Android TV. Go to their app store, add the SkyWatch TV channel, and then all of our video content is available to you whenever you click the remote. We're on the internet. You can find us at YouTube at SkyWatch Television. Please subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, leave us some comments below, and click the like button. Rumble.com/SkyWatchTV, or download our mobile app to your smartphone or tablet. It's free. It's available for iOS, Android, and Amazon Kindle Fire devices. And we have links to their app stores at skywatchtv.com/app. Mark your calendars. We are going to be out and about the next few months. In June, just about 1 month away, Sharon and I, along with Pastor Carl Gallups, will be at the Mysteries of the Bibleverse live event from Southwest Radio Ministries. One of the upcoming guests on the main SkyWatch TV broadcast, Micah Van Huss, is one of the speakers as well. Fascinating conversations. The theme of the weekend is the topics your Sunday school teacher didn't tell you about. Don't miss it, June 13th and 14th in Indianapolis, Carmel, Indiana, the Drury Suites Hotel, or Drury Plaza Hotel, rather. More information at marginalmysteries.com, or just scan the QR code here on your screen. In July, Joe Ardis Horn will join Sharon and me, along with Carl Gallups, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, Vicki Joy Anderson, and many of our good friends, Pastor Casper McLeod, Kenny C., David Hebner, Tom Dunn. This is at the Go Therefore Conference in Dayton, Ohio, suburban Dayton actually, the Harvest Revival Center in Brookville. This one will have streaming video available July 25th and 26th. Information and registration at GoThereforeConference.com, GoThereforeConference.com. And then in August, here in the Ozarks, we hope to welcome you here to the Ozarks, August 22nd through 24th, the Remnant Rising Conference at the Oasis Hotel and Convention Center in Springfield, Missouri. Close enough to the Springfield-Branson National Airport. There's an airport shuttle if you're coming in by plane. If you're coming down Interstate 44, just 10 minutes from the new Buc-ee's. We will be there along with Joe Ardis Horn, Donna Howell, Nita Horn, talking about the camping season at Whispering Ponies Ranch, and friends like Pastor Paul Begley, Heidi Begley, Vicki Joy Anderson, Tracy Tennant, Kevin Shipp, and Dave Hodges. This will be a wonderful gathering, and we hope to see you there. Information and registration at hearthewatchmen.com. That's hearthewatchmen.com. And finally, Sharon and I invite you to join us in Israel in October 19th through 30th. We'll take you on a tour with our good friend Carl Teichrieb, author, researcher, lecturer, and we will show you places that most tours will not. Gilgal Rephaim, a site similar to Gilgal Rephaim, a megalithic structure on the Jordan River, 2 miles north of the Sea of Galilee, which is where we believe Jesus was baptized. We'll show you and tell you why as part of this tour. And of course, we'll go into the Jordan, we'll get on the Sea of Galilee, we'll worship where Jesus walked on the water. Jerusalem, the Temple Mount, the Mount of Olives, this Nazareth, this is, seeing these sites will change the way you read the Bible. Don't miss it. You can find out more and find a place to reserve your spot on the bus in October at gilberthouse.org/travel. That's gilberthouse.org/travel. Thank you for watching as we keep watch, and have a blessed weekend. I'm Derek Gilbert. This is 5 in 10 from SkyWatch TV.
The prophecies foretold of a coming Savior, one that would reach across the veil and set the captives free. Featuring Derek Gilbert,
UFO True Believers, the Ancient Aliens Prophets,
Carl Gallups,
the cherubim, the living creature,
and Micah Van Huss.
The story of the giant of Kandahar.
At the Mysteries of the Bibleverse event in Carmel, Indiana, June 13th and 14th.